Howdy, Coach. You ready to take some questions?
Okay.
We'll start with Travis Brown for the Bryan College Station Eagle.
Hey, Coach. From where y'all were Saturday after the game to today, I know the players said they were excited about practice to get in there and fix some of the stuff. What, how many steps forward do you think y'all took today from where you were Saturday?
I'm pleased with their response. We changed up, Travis, what we did on Sunday, what we did on Monday. We even changed up what we do at shoot around. We changed up what we do in pregame, so to say. And I think our guys' response to all of those changes were good. And I think that there was evidence of steps forward, not still plenty of room for growth, but I thought that we did take steps forward, particularly after a really bad showing on Saturday afternoon.
The changes, were they like schedule wise, drill wise?
Like Travis, you may have heard me talk about this before. A lot of our prep is more NFL-esque as far as some of the things that I've learned as far as what do we do on game day, and then what do we do the day before. We call that one day before. What do we do 2 days before, 2 day before? And so our whole calendar is assimilated based on when the games are and what time the games are. And so when we practice, and then all of those categories of 1 day before, 2 day before, there are certain criteria that everybody knows in the program what their responsibilities are and what we're going to do. And we shelved all of that, not as punishment, but I think anytime you're spending an inordinate amount of time on an opponent, to some degree, obviously, it takes away from what you have to accomplish. And I think that we have a variety of things that ail us. And so we gave no time in Sunday and Monday to the opponent. We only did that at pregame. And because we need to, and we can know a lot about the opponent, but until we know more about us and the consistency of us, then it's going to be an issue no matter the opponent. And so how we practiced and what we practiced, unique on Sunday, unique on Monday, and even what we did today, it was all 1000% about us so that there wasn't any confusion. The staff did a really good job in implementing those changes, and I thought our guys responded to what they didn't know was coming in a very positive way. And I'm not saying that that's why we made steps, but it's probably part of it. I think, like I told them, sorry for such a long-winded answer, I think when there's multiple issues, there's not one solution. And so you have to diagnose everything you're doing so that you can figure out what the real issues are. Because if there's multiple things popping up, we've got to figure out why there's so many different ailments. And then you can have a proper diagnosis. We need to get to the bottom of it. And we're not to the bottom of it, but I'm encouraged by how we've handled the last 72 hours.
Two more quick ones. Pop, as they call him. A, do you know where Pop originated from? And B, I know he got significant minutes today. What have you seen from him that gave him some extra rotation time?
Well, some of it, Travis, is what I just said in the first one. Like, who are the guys that can throw figurative good pitches on both ends of the floor? Who are those guys that can execute what we're asking of them? And then what's the grouping of guys that can do that collectively on both ends of the floor? That's a big issue when we don't know, nor do the players know, who is it that can do their job and who can they do their job with. And as you've seen, we're trying different groupings throughout the first 4 games, and Papa had not had his chance, nor had Jax for that matter. There's probably a better answer, but because I love his granny, Papa has a unique story, and
great. And then status update on Hefner. I know he was not suited out.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember, Travis, the medical definition, but he's going to be out for a bit. And they'll check on him every 7 days to see his progress, which will determine his return. Some level of sprain, but there were some more involved words prior to sprain, but sprain was the only one that a junior college graduate would understand.
Thanks, Coach. You're done with me.
All right, let's move on to Tyler Shaw from KBTX.
Coach, how would you rate? I know you talked about how they kind of improved, especially over practice. The energy level tonight, and when you're looking at the next couple of weeks, you've got a lot of practices in between games. So, is that going to be beneficial to you guys?
Yeah, that was one thing, Tyler, that we talked about a little bit on Sunday, as far as how we were going to utilize Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Talked a little bit about it at halftime relative to the possessions remaining in the game. Tonight it was a low possession game, which sometimes trends in a good way for us because it means defensively we're not giving away near as many easy baskets, so the possessions become longer, so the number of possessions become less. And it is one thing that we talked about post-game. We're off tomorrow. They're more than deserving of a day off. And then how we handle Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, early game Monday, we can't afford to give those days away emotionally, mentally, or physically. Our kids will be able to go home after Wofford, and similar, I'm sure, to bits and pieces of each of our story, the spring and the summer and the fall have been very unique. And even for children, it has been unique. So I'm excited that our kids will at least have 72 hours to see their family and friends. But we're not in a position we're behind the curve relative to where we need to be. And so we need to handle these upcoming days prior to Monday in a very efficient and effective way, similar to what I think we did Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We've got to build off of this starting again on Thursday.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Logan Lee of TexAddicts.com.
Hey, Lo, before you ask a question, what I wanted to say, Travis, I was getting a little emotional as Granny, that's what we all call LaDamian's grandmother. That's who raised LaDamian from an early teenage life. She calls him Papa, and you would have to talk to her on exactly why. I know bits and pieces of it, but it's just kind of like most players on a team / coaches, we prefer one syllable names. Like Jackson is just Jax, and Papa has become Pop. Savion has become Save. So we kind of, whatever the first syllable is, Quinton is just Q, JJ is J. It's just one syllable. So we just call him Pop.
I appreciate the clarification. Bad Zoom etiquette there on me. Throw the flag.
I'm sorry, Logan.
Oh, you're all right, Coach. Good game. I want to kind of expand on what Travis asked about the freshmen and getting them time. With a shortened non-conference schedule, did this game allow you to get a little more confidence in them and what they can do and their abilities? And then second part, outside of the freshmen, Marfo looked to have a better game than he has, showing signs of that rebounding prowess and some offensive abilities. What do you think of his game as well?
You're exactly right in everything you said. I think the teams that are ahead are the teams that have superlative upperclassmen returning because they can absorb all of this change. We're not in that position. We've played what is going to be one more game before SEC play, and we haven't had the consistency from our returning players the way we need to. And so then the volatility of what the newcomers are going through with the inconsistency of what we want from our returners, the combination of the two is what has had us floundering around. Like, who can do this on one end? Who can do it on the other end? And what are the groupings of that? And so that's why we can't give away the next few days. It's sometimes hard to get the groupings the way you want them, as you know, in practice. And so you have to, it's not a meritocracy where it's all just based on practice. Yes, practice is important, but it has to be some level of evidence that comes from the games. And so we started JJ on Saturday. I think that was the first time he had started since we've been here. We've not started Q. We've not started E-Man. E-Man got his first start tonight. We started E-Man and Save together for the first time. We've tried Aku. We've tried Marf. We've tried our 2 ball guards together. We changed that again tonight. We put Pop in. Like, it's not necessarily unfair, as you know, relative to their age, but we have to figure out who can play together, and that should end up being an easy answer. But then we need to figure out who can be effective together and how long they can be effective. And so I think Jax and Pop probably played 28 minutes. Yeah, 16 and 12. You know, that's 28 out of 200 minutes. Jackson scored his first basket. We need Hassan to be better from an efficiency standpoint. His turnover rate is way too high, but we need him to become better offensively, because defensively he can really help us. But we're still figuring that out, and we're just behind the curve, and we're fighting time relative to what's approaching. And I do agree with what you said. It's hard to argue. Marf had 7 rebounds in 12 minutes, and Aku had 1 rebound in 20 minutes. Like, that's another issue that we've got to figure out at that position.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, we'll finish up with Andrew Hattersley from Gig'em 247.
Yeah, Coach, I think Jackson Robinson, 12 minutes is as much as he's played this year. In terms of those reps, how valuable could that be for him going forward? And just what do you think he kind of did in those 12 minutes?
He's a really good kid. He's the youngest player in the country. He just turned 18 a couple of weeks ago. He for sure had his best 2 practices on Sunday and Monday. You know, no matter your talent level, he's talented. I'm not just speaking specifically about Jax. No matter your talent level, upon arrival, the intensity is different than what you think, no matter how much you've been around the game. And the workload on a daily basis is much more than has ever been required. And just those 2 things, not talking about academics, not talking about study hall, not talking about the change in Zoom learning, but just the workload and the intensity is unique, no matter what your talent level is. And so that takes time. And then when you're looking at lesser practices because of all that has transpired, lesser games, and then you add in the execution, the scouting reports, et cetera, it's just a lot. And so for them to get those minutes, I thought were really important. And I think that they're starting to figure out the value of practice and the value of a possession in practice and how that translates to a game. And so that in the end is what you want.
And then just going off of that, I mean, you mentioned LaDamian Bradford or Pop as well. They play 28 minutes and turn it over just once. Is that got to be an
That helps,
factor?
right? When you kick the ball all over the gym, like, it doesn't matter who you are or your age or where you're from or what your nickname is, don't turn it over. That is an issue. And we turned it over less. And I said this to the radio guys, some of our turnovers tonight were because we have made it a priority to play much more unselfish. And I thought a lot of times tonight, guys were turning down the shot that they knew it was their turn to shoot because they were over the top protective of, we're going to be unselfish. And a lot of those turn it down, a good shot turned into an average shot. And I think it led to maybe 3 or 4 of our turnovers. And I didn't bring that up at halftime, albeit the staff mentioned it multiple times in the staff meeting before we addressed the team, because I knew the intent of their heart was right relative to what they were trying to do. And so I mentioned it to them post game, but yes, like we are trying to collect minutes of anybody that won't turn it over.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, that's all the questions we have for you. Thanks, Buzz.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Happy Thanksgiving.
Enjoy this moment. This is fragile.